Hey, and welcome back. Let's work on our server. So the first thing I want to do is close everything. Open up my sidebar, collapse my client folder, and then we will focus on the server folder. Alright, next I'm going to create 5 new folders. Begin with models, followed by controllers, and then routes. Next will be middlewares. And the last one will be helpers. Now I will break these down, begin with models. So model is the structure of our data, and in this project, the main piece of data is our user, and the user will have like a name, an email, and password, and we define that by using a schema and a model from Mongoose. Let me show you what I mean. So in the models folder, I will create a new file called userModel.js. Next, I will want a schema and model from Mongoose. Next, I'm going to define the structure of the data by using a schema. So I will say const user schema is equal new schema. And I want my user data to have a name, an email, a password, and an avatar. Now I also want to turn on timestamp to true. This allows MongoDB to record down a time when a piece of data was created. Now I'm going to define the name. It will have a type of string. Next, I want it to be required. So I will turn that to true. And then an error message if it's not. Say, please enter your name. Next, I'm going to say trim is true because I don't want any white spaces. And now to email, type will also be a string. Required also true. The error message will be please enter your email. Trim will also be true. And then I want it to be unique because each user email should be different. Now to password, also a type of string. Required will also be true. The error message will be please enter your password. I wanted a minimum of 6 characters. Now to my avatar, type will also be a string. For now, by default, I will give it an empty quote. We will circle back to this later. Give it a quick save. Next, I want to model my user data after the structure. So scroll up a little bit. So I will say const user and then model it after my structure, which is the user schema. I will also need to give it a name. So I will say user. And finally export it so I can use it in my controllers. Give it a quick save. Now let's talk about controllers. So as a user, there are actions that I can do. For an example, I can register, log in, log out, or change my avatar. So we define these actions inside a controller. So in controllers, I will create a new file called usercontroller.js. First thing I want to do is require in my model. So const user require, and it's in my model folder. Next, I would define the controller. So const user controller. And inside, I will give all the actions that I want the user to have. And the first would be register. And it will be an async function. Inside that, it will receive a request and a response. I will also make it an arrow function. And for now, we will leave it blank. I'm going to go down and export it out so we can use it in our routes. Give that a quick save. Now I want to talk about routes. So picture this. If a basketball player want to play basketball, they will need to go to a basketball court, or if you need food, you will need to go to the grocery store. So as a user, if I want to register, I will need to go to a specific route. To log in, go to a specific route. To change my avatar, to a specific route. Let me show you what I mean. So now in routes, I will create a new file called user routes.js. The first thing I want to require in is the router from Express. Next, I'm going to say route is equal to router. And now I will also need my controller. So const user controller require inside my controller folder. Now I will say route.post. And if a user want to register, I want them to go here. So /API/auth/register. And then define my action inside my user controller, which is register. So I use post here because in order to register, we need to give our username, email, or password. So essentially we need to post it to the server. And then finally, I want to export it out. Give it a quick save. Navigate to my server.js. Require it in my routes. So const user route require, and it's in my routes folder, and then this file. Next, I will scroll down to the route section and then tell my app to use this route. Give it a quick save. So there are two more folders that I have not explained, and that's our middlewares and helpers. But don't worry, as we progress, I will break them down for you. And this will also wrap up the lesson. And in our next lesson, we will work on our user registration. See you then.